Seven of them on the lot, and announces lease cash yesterday. By 9 o'clock in the morning, they were all snatched up by employees. People rolling out of here and 3-year leases, nothing for $100 a month. My gym membership is more than that.
Mine's $400 a month. And I'm here right now. So I get it. And my 3-year-old and wife barely come here.
Find one, good luck. I mean, that's an electric, $150, $160 a month for a loaded car. It's a no-brainer.
So range on that.
250, and then you're going to need all day to charge it. You have a charger at your store, like you're good to go. So I think these are just top excited about these cars because they really are nice cars. They drive, they're quick, they're fun, they've got great technology. It's just if you need 400 miles, that's not the right car for you. They're a blast to drive.
Oh no, there's Scott Trainer. There goes the neighborhood.
There goes the neighborhood. I'm here.
About it. 2 years if you're born with the thing.
And I'll just so you guys know too, I'm gonna leave it open for him. Like I'm not gonna be one of those people that mutes everybody. Like just be courteous. Feel free to ask questions though. You can interrupt me. Anything at all. We can be a resource to you.
Yeah, you're kindly asking Thomas to mute his clubhouse, so we stop hearing Tony T in the background.
This is why we can't have nice things. Isn't that right, Tomasito?
Now everybody's quiet because they're shipping for Toyota dealers across the country.
I'm gonna jump on.
No, Tony, they're all quiet. They're all coming in the
morning.
Oh, wait,
Mr. Scott.
What's going on, buddy?
What's happening?
Oh no, look at the head on that.
Robert's joining.
Listen, I did not expect an impromptu Zoom this morning. I didn't do my hair.
Hey, you still look great. I don't care what anybody says about you. Okay?
I did too. Put a hat on.
That's not a hat. That's a visor. All right.
Visor.
I'm from out west where we have sun all the time. All right. So, all right. Looks like we got a decent sized group. Hey, I just want to thank you all for joining. I know a couple of my folks on our team are in Colorado, Athena and Tim. Thanks for joining a little early. And for everybody joining, my name is Chad Staples. I'm the president of Elevation Dealer Services. We're mainly a income development F&I agency that does reinsurance specialty. Been blessed to be in this industry for, I know I don't look like it, but 17 years, pretty crazy since I was 20 years old. And we've had the agency for a little over a year. And originally I went to Arizona State University for computer information systems. So for me, all things programming, internet, etc., technology, that was like my second love. My first love was actually music. I was in a metal band that was signed to a major label and played music. So kind of funny how, you uniquely change and transition through life and you develop into serving people and finding things that make sense. And so without anything further, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this and share my screen. Just bear with me 1 second and feel free to ask questions throughout. Let me know when you can see my screen.
There it is.
All right. So I'm going to go through a slideshow first and then feel free to ask questions. And then we're going to dive into ChatGPT. So anyway, what we're going to go through in this short presentation is going to be, what is AI going to do for your dealership? And ultimately, what are the capabilities? How does it work? What are some specific different strategies that are going to be bullet pointed? And we'll kind of unpack each one. And then there are things to know. When I say things to know, that means as a dealer, we all know that the world sees us as we're ripping people off. We know we're not. We know what net margins are, your typical, percentage that you make at a dealership compared to what people think of your top line revenue. If they really knew, they'd be like, gosh, how do you guys make it, right? And so the reality of it is a lot of these different vendors will charge $5,000-$6,000 a month. You have all these different advertising companies, etc. And so I just want to like let people know that this technology is ever changing. But in addition to that, so like you'll see the difference between like a 3.5 and a 4.0. It's literally like 12 years of machine learning that they do in like 6 months. So it's incredible how fast the evolution is coming. And I just want people to know and just to be on the lookout for like, hey, you know, maybe this is a rudimentary technology some people are trying to rip off your store, right? So what will it do for your store? We've all heard the term, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. And so simply put, it's going to enhance your team's ability to quickly and effectively respond to online inquiries, prepare them to address potential customer concerns, and secure an appointment. And in addition to that, it's also going to help you do language translations. It's going to help you with maybe training an F&I person or a desk person, or even a really, really green salesperson. And it's giving them the knowledge at the tip of their fingers.
It's one person with 40.
All right. So how does it work?
Hey, Chen,
Chat.
hey, Chen,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can give me some kind of right so I can mute people that
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on it for you. Didn't mean to
All right,
interrupt
cool.
that.
No. I muted that person. So it's all good. Okay. Whoops. Let me go back one. Sorry. I'm clicking away here. Boop boop. All right. So how does ChatGPT work? ChatGPT functions like a conversation partner. So really simply put, just like we all have chat bots that you go onto the computer when you're on a dealer website or some customers on your website and they start inputting basic information, it's going to correspond at a rudimentary level. But what you have to understand about ChatGPT, imagine if it's like a person, but it's a robot, right? So responding to prompts in a regular chat. So you have to communicate effectively on what you're looking for, the why behind it, etc. in detail, but you can do it at a quick level. So we'll get into that in a second. You can provide it with various inputs like photos, documents, text, emails, invoices. You can upload newsletters. You can upload website articles. And when you do this stuff, you can ask for, okay, based on this newsletter, what is a 4 bullet point high level that I want to learn from it? And boom, it can do it. So it can provide you numerous valuable content points that you can use in your sales meetings on a weekly basis too. So to get the most accurate and helpful response, it's important to communicate clearly what you're looking for. So the perspective from which you ask questions can greatly influence the responses you receive, ensuring they align with what you're seeking. So real life functionality, you just basically understand how to prompt, which I'm going to show you. Understand you have to communicate exactly the who, what, why, and when, and perspective is going to be key. So at the dealer level, let me just admit a couple people here that are late. So at the dealer level, these are some different specific strategies that you can utilize in order to solve numerous little daily issues and challenges that you're going to be able to overcome quickly. So number one, customer interaction and inquiries, right? Number two is going to be training and knowledge. So for example, you have a green P, you do training a few days a week, you want to help them with product knowledge. They've already tried to start to go through all of their certification with the different OEM manufacturers, but they want to know stuff about used cars. Well, here you go. You ask that question about that specific used cars. What's the why behind it? What's the difference? How is this car going to be better than how is a Chevy Tahoe better than a Ford Explorer, right? And the why behind it. So you ask these different questions, it's going to spit out a rendition of that. Well, you can ask it to give you a different rendition based on the information you received. Or if you wanted to add information to it that you were like, well, they're missing this. The 6.2 liter is better because of this. Well, then you can add that information in there. You can tell it, hey, can you also add this? Boom. And then it'll spit it out. It'll wordsmith it and make sure it's all grammatically correct. That then you can use it for email correspondence. You can use it for social media posting. You can have it do it, add emojis. You can have it add hashtags. So the more specific you are in what you're looking for from the perspective in which you're trying to come from and you communicate that, the more it's going to develop faster and further. So document information and retrieval, lead generation and follow-up. Finance calculations and explanations. I was blown away at the ability when I was looking at, for example, I was looking at compound interest and I wanted to explain to somebody the difference in compound interest in a reinsurance company when a administrator charges a dealer a loss adjustment expense and the missed opportunity there was. And it dialed it down to the penny based on the average interest you're accruing in the reinsurance company, how much lost opportunity there was, and what that was going to look like diminishing over a 10-year period. So it's highly valuable information. And I was incredibly blown away by how quickly it'll spit it out for you. Language translations, any possible language across the board. Pretty easy to use. You don't have to go into Google Translate. You can just spit it in there and you're done. From the perspective in which you're looking to communicate it as well. Market research and trends. You can ask, just like we were talking about on All Things Car Biz earlier. We're talking about, hey, we're giving a range. I agree with David Long on the range. That's how I was raised. We used to hit people with information overload. We used to do black book, wholesale, retail, KBB, MMR, and then we'd hit a customer with it and they'd go, well, there's 12 different values here. What's my car worth, right? So different things like that. Marketing campaigns and social media. This one's really big because I believe that you can, and there, hey, Colin Peterson, thanks for joining us. He's the reason why I started doing marketing videos online. He introduced me to the Gary Vee book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And he's a marketing savant. He builds dealer websites. We met through our year of suffering working at Lifted Trucks in Arizona as executives there. He moved down from Northwest Motorsports in Puyallup, Washington. We both were there for a year, and we both are now entrepreneurs and best friends. So hats off to him for being a dear friend and helping me out with the marketing campaign side. And so with this, what happens is you can go in there and you can say, we have a big sale going on at the store coming up, President's Day, 4th of July, what have you. From here, you could say, give me for Miracle Motors or Joe Smith Ford. Give me a marketing campaign spew that I can use, including emojis and hashtags, for our 4th of July sale coming up. And tell it the specifics on what different discounts you have, whether it's subvented rates, etc., or rebates, and bam, it's going to give you a rendition of that. You can just copy and paste it. You can have each of your salespeople do that as well on each of their social platforms, and each one will be unique to themselves. And that's the key. But if you have the same hashtags and you're tagging different people in those posts, it's going to help drive that algorithm. In addition to that, scripting and role playing. I love this component because I've been all about training. I was fortunate enough, my first week in the car business, you guys will probably laugh at this, but I was trained by a guy named Tom Stuker. He's kind of an OG on the phone sales. And literally this is 2009. I'm at Yates Buick Pontiac GMC. And the first week I start, they paid this guy 10 grand to come at the store. He smelled like bourbon and he showed me how to sell on the phone. It was super impactful. But being able to role play and utilize this information to your team's best ability to go back and forth is going to be huge. In addition to that, I think feedback and improvement is also huge. So when you as a manager are trying to do your one-on-ones with your people and you're trying to coach them, you can process information through this and it can give you different perspectives. You can ask it that information. Hey, this is my guy that I'm training right now. This is how long he's been in the business. This is what I've seen. What feedback do you think from your perspective could you give me? And it'll give you some different feedback points for improvement to help them. And then lastly, administrative tasks. So it can help you organize your team's schedule for the month. You can literally paste that in there, including a photo of it or a file, whether it's Excel or Word, and you can paste in there and say, based on this, these are my top people. How can we maximize our opportunity at the store based on these are our busiest times? And it'll give you information to gear you up to be most successful. So let's look at a few different problems here. Customer wants a product info. You have a super green sales team and you need to set an appointment. That's a basic level one. Number two, you don't have a salesperson who speaks Spanish or another language where the customer only speaks one language. English is definitely not a second language or a fifth language. You have an upcoming sale and you need each salesperson to go ahead and start building their own personal brand and promoting on social media, but they don't know where to start and you want each one to be unique, right? So these are some specific things that you can utilize to your advantage. And now we're gonna go in through a demo here after this next one. But things you should know lastly is risk. You do not want to rely 100% on AI because it's far from perfect. And when it comes to trade valuations, especially, it can be incredibly costly, right? It can be a runaway train that you don't want that to happen. So there needs to be some checks and balances. Just like when you are doing social media posts, etc., you want to review it, actually read through it and see, what, maybe there needs to be more of a personal touch in here and you can add a couple of things and, hey, can you please add this? Next thing you know, it's going to give you what you're looking for. Additionally, vendors, at an NADA, and Thomas, you could probably admit to this too. When we walked around NADA, how many people were talking about AI, but how many people actually knew what they were talking about? I know Colin, you can speak up too. Colin, you and I talked about this because you were with me at NAD. How much did you see in the sessions you were in, Colin?
Everyone was talking about AI. It was the hot topic that a vendor out on the floor hadn't even tinkered with. It's good in theory, but you have to know how to use it. And so a lot of these new startups are just coming out with the hot new brand, the new thing, and they're not ready for, especially the dealership world. So, but it's coming, and there's good ways to use it. That's for sure.
That's absolutely true. Thanks for your feedback on that. And then research. Make sure you do research on each and every platform that's out there. There's all the time there's new stuff. You're going to see avatars where literally what we're working on is a video of me and each one of my team members on our with our company that can do interactive F&I training. You know, we're going to have to put some subset parameters in there to make sure it doesn't become a runaway train as well. But we're trying to build value in areas where it'll be free to our dealer clients that they can access at any time, and they can leverage that information to be able to role play and try to help grow their team.
Good.
And so anyway, yeah, I also recommend trying it for yourself. So here's my contact information if you need it. I'm going to run into some of the actual software, but feel free to save this. And if you have questions afterward, or if you want a copy of this recording, please let me know. All right. So now, all right. So I'm going to open up. All right. Can you guys see my web browser?
Gotcha, brother. Gotcha.
All right, cool. So I've logged into ChatGPT. This is 4.0. So there's different options, right? There's 3.5. That's great for everyday tasks. Here, I pay for 4.0. It's a much more powerful platform. Colin, what would you say is the main difference between 3.5 and 4.0 in terms of like machine learning and time frame and stuff like that?
Simple terms, your response in 4.0 is going to just be way more human legible. 3.5 was the pioneer that everyone got used to, and it was finally able to answer your responses. 4.0 is where it makes it look like real sentences and dang near human.
So right now I'm going to type something in that's going to help me write a social media post for Tom Horn's Ford sales event, where we have $2,500 off each vehicle. And in addition to this, we want to focus on taking care of each customer as family, add emojis and hashtags. Boom. So now you can come in here, and this is how simple it is. And so this information, so you read huge savings alert with Tom Horn Ford. We're not just selling cars, we're welcoming you to our family. This week, drive home, not just in a car, but a promise of care and quality that meets like family. Pretty simple, right? So, and it'll continue. So you can prompt it in different ways to go more brief. Like obviously this is becoming a little bit longer. Anything longer than like 5 lines, I think is tough because people seem to not read it right. But you couple this with a video. So you figure out a video. You don't want to make it sales pitchy either. So like the biggest thing about these marketing videos is as soon as, what'd you say, Colin? You said as soon as you start sales pitching, you cut your audience in half. You do it again, you cut your audience in half again. So you never want to make it about like, oh, come buy from us. It's like, hey, asking customers about their current situation, asking them about, hey, what have you experienced? What do you like? Those are some different things that help kind of drive the algorithm as well. Did somebody have a question? No. Another thing you can do when it comes to customer credit and selling a car, what key things do we need to convey to this customer that have a 620 credit score and they only make $4,500 a month gross, period? When it comes to affordability, please help me convey to them what type of vehicle they can afford. So
Save your money.
exactly, right? So it's going to give you some bullet points here, and there are different things. Like, does anybody have a situation that they specifically want to talk about? Like, give me something that's happened in your store in the last week where we can literally ask it and we can drill down to explaining it to customers and what the difference is. I like this one. I had one where there was a border patrol agent that was trying to buy a car. He had 5 credit cards that were all almost completely maxed out, and he was objecting on buying protection products, extended service contract, and tire wheel, because he said he couldn't afford more on a payment, right? So if I say and it might take me a second to type this, but we have a customer who has 5 credit cards almost maxed out, and he is worried. He wants the truck and will buy it at $700 a month, but won't. Whoops, I hit enter by accident. But won't at $775 because he claims his budget won't allow, and additionally, we are focusing on adding a vehicle service contract and gap and tire and wheel protection to keep his payment and credit protected, period. So in here, when you're looking at this, help me give a brief explanation to how I need to convey the importance of these items to the customer. Period. So once this is done here, there we go. So you can keep it super brief. Like, you can also say, give it to me in 2 sentences. Whoops. So this is how easy it is. That's a long 2 sentences. But the point is it's gonna help convey it to the customer, you know.
Now ask it to put in bullet form fashion. Boom chakalaka.
Can you translate it to so it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty incredible, right? So there's so much to your fingertips that you can do. Does anybody have give me a topic, give me something. Feel free to speak up, and you can unmute yourself. Ian, what do you have?
Confirmations.
I'm pretty familiar with this tool, so I've been
yeah.
using ChatGPT since the early days, so I'm very familiar. And I
Absolutely.
think my advice is obviously be careful, because even the newest versions have issues, but you know, using it helps, because version 3.5, which was the first version, that was a free version, then 4, it's worth paying for it. But just be cognizant that you have to review things, because it does make errors. Now it's getting better than it used to be, but it's definitely making errors. I mean, I had the benefit of taking a AI class as part of my MBA elective, and I'm very familiar with this tool, so I like it, but just be cognizant that it's not perfect. I've actually even seen an AI sales trainer tool this week. A buddy of mine shared it with me, where he had it ingest all his trainer knowledge, and you can ask it questions like you're talking to him. It's kind of interesting. So I think that there's definitely potential, but be aware that using it will help. So do it a lot, you'll figure out what's good for you and what isn't, but also it advances quickly. So let's just say you were doing something like, I wanted to do marketing for lease retention. That would be a very good thing to do if you're doing a series of emails, or you want to personalize emails, or you're doing long tail lead conversion. or you're looking at ways to say sell parts, which is one of my personal things that I talked to some people at Andy at the Ford thing about, because I have a Jeep product and it has an app, but the app doesn't sell you accessories. I have no idea why. So I talked to the guys at Ford. I said, you know my vehicle, you know how I drive it, you know the service thing. I go, why aren't you selling me accessories in the wintertime? Right on the app. Why aren't you doing that? And they were like, well, we should do that. I'm like, yeah, but dealers should do that too. If you have a bunch of inventory of accessories and it's seasonal, yeah, you should be using ChatGPT to do that. The one I'd also recommend everyone look at, if you haven't already, there's a company called Founders Club. They're kind of like the Black Card. They have ads on LinkedIn, and I've been going down their email sales pitch, and it's very interesting what they're doing. And I think dealers could do the same. So if someone goes on a website, fills out a form, doesn't buy a car, what is your process? Multiple emails. How do you write those? How do you touch that customer 7, 8, 9 times? How do you keep it interesting? ChatGPT can give you ideas. If you need ideas, it's great for that. But check the grammar, check the spelling, check the intonation. Language is a whole other ball of wax. But at the end of the day, it's very powerful. And it's now being baked into most tools. So you're seeing it more and more. The only risk is if ChatGPT says, oh, we're not going to support that anymore. So that's the only risk. I know Bard and a bunch of others are all over this, but I still think it's one of the better tools. I agree 100%.
And, I mean, for the cost, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
so inexpensive to be able to
Yeah.
pay for and use. I mean, what is it like? 20, I don't even know how much I pay.
It's cheap. It's cheap.
like 20,
but
20, 30 bucks a month. Yeah.
Be cognizant that it's not going to replace what you do yet, but you need to be aware of it. 100%. That's why I'm on the call.
Yeah, it's here just to help you kind of have an augmentation, just something else.
Yeah, I'm doing a show on it next
supplement.
month. AIO. I'm gonna have like 6, 7 people on it, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they all have to say. Because I want to grill them, just like I did with digital retail. Many shows on digital retail, and I pit them against each other. Why should I do this? And they'd be like, "Well, because it does this and that." A bag of chips. Okay, what does it really do?
Absolutely. So
AI, I'm all over that. Like I'm all over it. Like I'm all over having a couple people on and asking them tough questions, because I think dealers, rightly or wrongly, don't know enough about it to ask the questions. It's kind of like fat-free dessert. Like it's cool, but what does that really mean?
Yeah.
It's not fat-free software. Like it isn't magic, dude. What can it do? What can't it do?
Yeah, exactly. And you just have to come from a perspective of knowing how to prompt, what perspective you want it to come from, like what Ian just said, improving lease retention at your Honda store in Texas is what I put in. So it's giving me some different bullet points, right? Some different ideas.
Like service. What's your service retention? Is it 20% or is it 60? How can you get to 60? This is a great tool. Do this. Learn. Figure it out. Try things. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. I mean, I talked years ago with a dealer and they said their lease retention was 78%. And I'm like, I don't believe you. He goes, I can back it up. I'm like, wow, how do you do that? But more importantly, how do you get to 90? But if you're at 20, yeah, you should be getting to 40, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like service retention, when I worked with General Motors stores years ago, their target was 40% service retention. That's the OEM target. I'm like, 40%. What are you talking about? Should be 60. You sold them the car, dude.
It should be, but and I don't know if many of you have ever been to Phoenix, but we are the most unloyal transient city in the country. Like 30% of people are either coming, 30% of people are going, and 30% of people might be staying. So when you look at that and you look at like prepaid maintenance, for example, we're seeing data points where there's a company that we work with that'll look all around the dealer's area and they'll figure out what the price points are. And when we're building the cost structure, and considering breakage and everything, we look at it and we say, okay, this is how we're going to target our current customer base, and this is how we're going to sell effectively on the service drive and additionally into the business office as well. So it's just some different components on here. Colin, what other stuff would you recommend in this tool from a dealer's perspective? Obviously, you build dealer websites, you work on a regular basis with dealers all over the country. What would you recommend?
You said it right there. Fix your website. Use it to fine-tune your copy on your website. It's surprising how much the your homepage at least. Like spend some time on that. Spend some time on the finance page. Run it through Chat GPT and fine tune it for your local area. So there's a lot you can do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, offers for sure. Monthly offers. Why are you not using this to write monthly offers for your service department or your sales department right now? Like when I used to sell websites many moons ago now, we had monthly offers, and that's a huge area for dealers. They don't even do it most of the time. Like put a used car offer, put a new car offer, put a service offer, do it every month. People will look for that because they're conditioned at the grocery store. Like, what's my special this week? Like you'd be shocked, like the kind of clicks and the kind of capture you get with that. It's something really simple. Just come up with an offer, like, I don't know, tire sale, wiper sale, something. And used car, yeah, you should be featuring used and new cars 100%. And those offers shouldn't be the same as the OEM. They should be your own offers. They shouldn't be the OEM offer. That's a mistake because it should be unique to your dealership. Why would it not be unique to your dealership? You know, I mean, that'd be like A&W, that'd be like Burger King and McDonald's having the same offer. Why? Have a different offer. You know, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So like in here, I just entered in basic information. So can you help me write an email campaign for our dealership to buy customer vehicles offering the highest market value and $2,500 off any new vehicle they want to purchase? So if you have a specific subset of what you're trying to campaign, look, it's going to give you the subject line. This can write all of your you know, quote unquote templates, and then you can adjust and you can make each one personal based on the person, and you can embed in there to make it specific to that customer. You can make it specific to whatever vehicle they have based on your equity mining data that you already have within your dealership. So you can have these integrations set in here and you can paste the stuff. But look, sell us your vehicle and experience unmatched value plus a special bonus. And then what makes us different? And you can add in here. Also, what makes us different is we have the lowest sales tax in the state, and we are family owned. So then from there, you just, you know, you add a couple things in here and it's going to spit it out the way it's going to come from that perspective, but then it's going to add it in a different rendition. So you can ask for multiple renditions of this. So like, for example, if you don't really like the way something is worded, you can come in and say, great, but can you give me a different version? So once it's there, let's just go ahead and stop it. And it'll do it again. Same thing, but it'll come with a difference. So this subject line up here was get top value for vehicle and enjoy exclusive savings with us. This one here, exclusive car selling offer and unmissed savings await you. So it literally will come out in a different perspective each time. It'll give you all of the same touch points, but in a slightly different iteration. And I really enjoy this because I run stuff through it all the time. Like I write all of my own stuff. And then sometimes I'm like, man, I just want to see if there's a better way to say this, you know, and I'll just paste it in there and then it'll spit it back out. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And it's great for phone scripts. It's great for helping people in sales training with phones or on the internet, pretty much across the board. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a great group of sales managers. And I remember when, you know, whether it was Aaron Walker or Brent Nagowski that I worked for years ago, they would say stuff like, I want you to say this, but this is exactly how I want you to say it, right? They would load your lips. And and a lot of Greenpeace screwed up because they don't say it that specific way. So this will help them kind of massage a few of these different perspectives and say, okay, well, what's the impact of this and the why behind it? So this gives
Hey,
you just
Chad.
some, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
One of the things that I've been on the deep end of AI since this time last year. And one of the things that we've learned about ChatGPT 4 is that the plugins, and they change every week because Chat is just buying out these small guys. But one of the things is deriving data and getting better decision making from that data. In other words, we have a scraper and it scrapes the Google information, 82 data points. That's great. But when you're trying to read that, you go bug-eyed trying to read that. Enter ChatGPT 4 and put that spreadsheet into ChatGPT 4, and you can ask, what are the top 10 dealerships in my market. And then, okay, I'm number 15. How do I get to number 10 or 5?
Mhm.
And it'll map out for you exactly what you need to do to make smarter decisions on getting where you want to go as far as your goals go. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but that's what it's there for. And that's the advancement of, what's the difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4.0. That's one of the differences that we found, is the weeding of the data that can make the decision maker make better decisions.
Mhm. What? No, you're absolutely right, and that's exactly all we wanted to show people today was this can help you across the board in any industry you're in, but specifically automotive. Whether it's Alex at an administrator's level, right? You're going in and you're prospecting dealers, and you want to think of different ways to be creative on maybe whatever emails you're sending, correspondence. You want to copy and paste an email in there, and you want to wordsmith it because you want it to be cleaned up, and you're sending out 50 emails while you're flying on an airplane, right? So it's like you want to make sure that you're cleaning things up and you're thinking of different ways to do it, and it really works to your advantage across the board. Has anybody else that's on this call, have any of you used it? Jason, have you ever used ChatGPT before, or is this new to you? Here, there you go. You were unmuted.
No, sir. I've
There you
never
go.
used it before. I've never used it before. That's why I jumped on. I was in Clubhouse this morning, and I am trying to advance my career. So anything that I can absorb, sponge in, I'm trying to watch, read,
What's a
whatever I
what's a
can.
big objection, daily life in the trenches? What's something you encounter?
So here at our store, I just started here at an Acura store in Austin, Texas, and what our biggest setback right now is staffing. We've got a bunch of green peas on the floor. Where EMIs are super important, getting involved. I'm the finance director here at the store,
Okay.
but I'm fluid as they need me. I'm going out and closing deals for them. We can't rely on the staff. So right now, that's our biggest thing. Is I'm trying to find ways to get these guys trained up quicker. And we're weeding through what we have. It's just been difficult. I worked for under a couple of guys for a short time, and one of the things that I took away from him was intentionality, and that's what I'm trying to and staying focused on the process, and not deviate. If he was on here, he'd probably be clapping just because it's something I took from him, and it's something that I've put into my process as well every day. So it's just trying to get everybody on board.
Right. And well, just like anything else, right? You don't know what you don't know unless you have right mentors around you that just kind of walk you through the why behind something, help you look at that, that light on your path, that the next foot in front of you, to be able to see, okay, I can do this. And it isn't that difficult. At the beginning, it might be, right? Everything good in life is uphill. And so you got to get through that. And then as you continue to climb, things start to get easier and easier. And so whenever you have a really green sales team, these tools will really help them. I would just focus on, kind of like you said, I would focus on relationship first, right? Just, it's your show, but just be you and have fun. Customers are all afraid of getting ripped off. Acura is a unique clientele, right? It's a very unique clientele. You have engineers, you have doctors, you have people that have money. There's not a lot of product penetration in finance, typically speaking, at least in my market. Chris Zamora owns a store out here in Tempe, and there's not a lot of product penetration. Cash is very high. So you have to think of different ways to get creative to get these customers in. And so when you're doing that, this is just another tool that they can leverage to be able to do such.
100%.
Well, I can appreciate it, and
Yeah.
I'm in that. To me, I guess I think of them as more of a think tank podcast, things to that nature. But I'm just listening and absorbing. I am trying to get to the next level. I do want to become a GSM at some point. And I heard something here a while back. Somebody said something about us guys. I'm been in this right at 30 years. And I heard someone say something the other day, and it really hit home. As veterans or guys that came up in the business, we were browbeat to death, and we can't manage that way. We can't manage anymore. We have to lead. And that is something that has struck me so deep that I had to, self-reflect and look and say, okay, I've been a manager all these years. I need to be a leader now. And that's why I'm in all these groups, is trying to become that, so I can become better, so I can be, there's no end, there's no finish line to being a leader, but a constant growth. And I took that from, if I remember correctly, Alex said that in Clubhouse about 2 weeks ago, and man, I'm gonna tell you, it struck. The other thing he said was that he
Get
goes to
yourself this
trainings.
book. Get this book. It's called Principles. Highly recommend it. Ray Dalio.
Principles. Okay.
Yeah, Ray Dalio, highly recommend it. Great leadership book. I don't know if you can
Awesome.
see it.
I
Principles, Ray Dalio.
can't, but I will
Reach out to
definitely
me.
write it down and I'll
I give
find
it
it.
to you.
Okay.
Principles, it's
Sounds
called.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Hey,
send you some
Jason.
stuff too, Jason.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
What were we saying,
Jason,
Thomas?
if you need some basic sales training material for your green peas, there's some on my website you can download. If you need something specific, just hit me up. I'll be happy to help out.
I appreciate you. I appreciate it. Anything I can take, anything I can grab from anybody that's been in the business. And like I said, we learn from each other, whether they're veterans or rookies. We just have to absorb stuff, and I'm hoping to get to the next level sooner than later. But I need to make sure that I'm there for whoever I'm leading. So I appreciate anything that y'all can provide.
Dwayne, do you have any questions? I know you definitely were interested in the topic, and I just wanted to see if you had anything hanging out there or thoughts.
Not immediately right now. I'll probably circle back with Thomas later on, but I appreciate the time and information. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, buddy. No problem. Well, if anybody doesn't have any other questions or anything, I know it's getting late East Coast time. We got some, cars to sell and stuff to do. So if anybody has any questions or anything, or wants to reach out or anything at all, we're here to be a resource to you. Thomas is, myself, Ian as well, and then Colin. So I want to thank you guys for your time this morning, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.